Hey, hello, and welcome to NBC's first Nintendo Direct pre-show. We have a post-show coming as well. You can watch Nintendo Direct right here at IGN. I'm Jose Otero. This is Brian Altano.
What's up?
And this is Marty Sleeville. And we're going to give you a quick rundown in the next 8 minutes or so, 7 minutes now, of what we're expecting. But first, are you guys ready to talk about Nintendo Direct?
Yeah, I'm ready
Is
to
that
talk
today?
about
We're not ready to talk about Nintendo Direct.
Now
we got to get ready.
Now we're ready.
About
Now we're ready
Nintendo
for it.
Direct.
This is the time. This is the time of year that we're talking about. There's only one thing on our minds right now.
I wonder what it is. I'm not entirely sure.
This is
so
it.
let's lead off with what to expect. So right away, do not expect. First, I just want to say, do not expect anything about Nintendo's online service.
Really?
Really?
Really, and I'll tell you why. That is a bigger deal, and going into this Direct, Nintendo made it very clear, we're talking about 3DS, we're talking about Switch, we're mainly focusing on ARMS and Splatoon.
Yeah.
Despite those being online games, I feel like if the online service was getting talked about, that would be mentioned.
That would be like that foot forward.
Yeah, that's
Jose,
a bullet point.
when Nintendo says we're mainly focusing on this and this, that means there's a sliver right there at the end, which you can fit Animal Crossing, Breath of the Wild 2, Metroid Fusion, anything you want goes right in that little sliver.
So
That's what it's all about.
I agree with you that there is the element of surprise with any Nintendo Direct, but I do think that this is completely skipping. But let's talk about what to expect. Let's start with Switch games. Obviously, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe gets a mention because guess what? That game is coming out relatively soon, April 28th.
Yeah.
That's going to be out in stores.
Yeah, I'm stoked for that. Yeah, I have a feeling that's going to be a passing mention just to remind people, like, hey, this game is out in 2 weeks, before focusing on, obviously, the two games that they've announced that they're going to talk about with ARMS and Splatoon.
You think we'll get a look at Block Fort? The best multiplayer.
No, I think just like Marty
matches of all
said,
time?
passing mention because there are bigger things to talk about. And I think that with ARMS, since you went into that, I think we get a date because this is a spring release date, a spring game, and so far no date has materialized.
I think we need a date and we need a here's why you should care. Because like we got the reveal, obviously, at the big Switch event a couple months ago, but they need to be like, hey, this is why this game is up there in the same breath as Splatoon 2 and Mario Deluxe.
Yeah, absolutely.
I played this last month or so at a Nintendo event, and I had a really good time with it. I was actually really surprised. I thought it would be sort of a thin experience, but I really like it.
Okay, and then with Splatoon, I'm hoping, though, for ARMS, are they going to take the chance on Amiibo? I think they should call them Armiibo.
I like
I love that. I love that.
Start the campaign
I'm putting
now.
a moratorium on you can't announce any new Amiibo until the ones we've wanted are out.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
All
right. Let's move forward. Splatoon, do we get a release date, yes or no?
No, I think we get a vague late summer.
Okay.
No,
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think you got to put a release date down. You already did the sort of global test fire. I imagine they'll do another one of those, and people are hyped for it. Like, there's an icon on my system now that reminds me every day that Splatoon is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Yeah. And I want to play it. Like, I really, really liked what I played so far.
Nintendo also has to do a better job of pushing back on the perception right now that this is Splatoon 1.5. I don't think the test fire did that. The test fire instead just showed you, hey, Splatoon 2 works really great over the internet if you had a good day with connections and whatnot. you were having a good time. But otherwise, they really got to start showing new modes, new features, new things.
Yeah, what separates. So also, I was beating this drum with the first Splatoon. I would like a campaign of some sorts.
I was going to say, we got a campaign in the first one. I hope, A, that gets ported over, B, they make a new one, and C, that you can play with bots now. Because let's be honest, the Switch is going to be offline for a lot of people a lot of times. During the test fire, I wasn't able to connect at all. I actually had to play this at an event.
When you're on the bus, you're not going to connect, right? Unless you do the crazy thing I did.
So give me some bots to shoot.
Okay, so Amiibo, we got to talk about Amiibo. Every Nintendo Direct comes with an Amiibo announcement. I wrote an article on the site yesterday where I pretty much said, hey, this is probably going to be the other 3 Amiibo in the 30th anniversary set of Zelda. And the reason I say that is because the piggyback guide to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild outed that there were 3 outfits in the game, Deity Link, Skyward Sword Link, or Skyward Sword outfit, and a Twilight Princess-like outfit that unlock with a corresponding Amiibo, and yet no one knows who they are. So it makes sense that every iteration of the home console versions would be represented.
Yeah,
I think those 3 show up here.
Give me Hestu, Bestu.
You really?
Yeah, I want Hestu. I like that man. He's got maracas.
He's going to be hard as hell to find.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, the Twilight Princess outfit does unlock with the Smash Brothers series Link Amiibo, but you can't find that in stores.
Right.
Like, when could you ever?
And you can get the Deity Link costume in the game through normal play, right?
No.
Oh, what's just the Dark Link one, right?
Yeah, it's just Dark Link, which is a mild
Yeah,
spoiler.
I'm all over this if they make new Zelda ones. That's really cool.
Speaking of Zelda, any chance we get any hint of what the DLC is?
I don't know. That's a great question. It could happen. I think it could
maybe
happen.
a quick tease of like this is what the dungeon looks like. Maybe it's a 5th divine beast.
So here's why I want that. I already paid for it.
Yeah,
So I'd like to know what I bought. Yeah, you did too, right?
I did. Yeah, I know. I went and bought it. I gave in. I expect Bayonetta Corrin and Cloud Amiibo Watch to continue.
Oh, God!
I don't think Nintendo says anything about it. The reason I'm saying this is because why not save that for Smash Brothers for NX? Like, why not? If it is a port of the Wii U game, 3DS game, combo, whatever it is,
yeah, with all the DLC,
put those things together.
Yeah.
Like, I just expect it to.
You think that's an E3 thing?
I think it could be a passing mention on a Treehouse Live. I don't think you'd make a big fanfare. I don't know.
No, I think the Smash Amiibo, the remaining ones at least, have to go with a big rollout for Smash Brothers.
Yeah, yeah.
This is what's coming.
Of course, I misspoke. It's not NX anymore. It's Nintendo Switch. But let's move on to Nintendo 3DS because that's the other side of it. Obviously, there can be Switch announcements in there. We don't know. We're just going to focus within what we do know. I expect a release date for Ever Oasis. This is a new IP RPG that they announced at E3 last year. They showed it in a September 1st Direct, and it looks done. I think it's time to now tell people, okay, here's when you can buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing is like we've all been talking about Switch so much in the last couple months, and none of us are mentioning the 3DS because none of us have turned it on. And so Nintendo sort of has to remind the much larger install base for 3DS, like why they should stick around and what sort of stuff they'll be playing.
Yeah, there are millions of 3DSs out there, from the launch model to the 2DS to the XL to
new 3DS.
To the new 3DS. There's so much out there. And it's easy for us to sort of like move on and forget that people are still playing games on that thing. But Nintendo's doing a good job of supporting that system for what seems to be at least another year or so to come, right?
So we are less than a minute away. I want to get out there that I think you get a release window for Pikmin 3DS and you get a name. I think that game needs a name. They only introduced it with a handful of gameplay clips when it was first revealed in September. It's about time to get that started. And they'll also probably, passing mention, Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadow of Valentia.
Right.
That game comes out on May 19th. It'll be out in Japan sooner. Just get that out of the door. I think that smartphone games do not show up in this thing at all because this morning Fire Emblem Heroes got new characters.
Yeah. What about Mother 3?
Every Nintendo Direct should have a Mother 3, just as much as every Nintendo Direct should be somehow centered around
those
thing
weird little
I'm wearing
critters
on my shirt.
Yeah.
But we're Nintendo Voice Chat, we're campaigning every episode for a Metroid game, and we're moments away from Nintendo Direct. Are you guys excited?
Yeah, I'm incredibly excited. I'll be honest, I want to see all the 3DS stuff just come to Switch. I love my 3DS, but I'm ready to move on.
Okay, what about you?
Yeah, I can totally get behind that. Maybe even a mention of Dragon Quest XI. We know we just got the Japanese release date for 3DS.
All right, we gotta go. Here it is.
Hi everyone, welcome to Nintendo Direct. I'm Yoshiaki Koizumi from Nintendo, and I'll be your guide. Nintendo Direct will continue to deliver information on a variety of products, including Nintendo Switch. Today, we'll take a deeper dive into ARMS and Splatoon 2. But first, let's start with Nintendo 3DS.
All right, time to speed run through some headlines. One fateful trip through the stars. Captain Olimar lost control of the SS Dolphin II and crash-landed on a new planet inhabited by Pikmin. And his first 2D platformer will give you a new perspective on his adorably fierce partners. They'll explore the planet secret by secret to find thousands of sparklium seeds and treasure to refuel his ship. Use the touchscreen to throw Pikmin into action and team up like never before. Will our half-pint hero find a way to save himself? There's only one way to find out. The Hey Pikmin game rockets onto the Nintendo 3DS family of systems July 28th. That same day, the new Pikmin Amiibo figure crops up on store shelves. In the run-up to launch, we'll reveal more about Amiibo functionality and what's in store for Olimar and his Pikmin.
Hello, I'm Koichi Ishii, producer and director of Ever Oasis from Grezzo. In Ever Oasis, you are the defender of the world's last oasis, and you must work together with the water spirit Esna to help it grow and thrive. Esna is an important partner who will nourish the oasis with water and support your adventures. As you overcome the many challenges that face the oasis, I hope you'll recognize the bond that links your heart and life with those of Esna. The story has been designed to illustrate the importance of kindness and at times to touch the heart. So I hope you will enjoy it. Ever Oasis will be released on June 23rd. We're excited to show you more about the bittersweet world of Ever Oasis, so be on the lookout for more information in the near future.
Prepare to embark on an RPG adventure unlike anything the Monster Hunter series has ever known. In Monster Hunter Stories, become a rider and bond with monsters to raise their potential and unleash powerful combos. Players can fly, swim, and crash into new areas of the map. Discover eggs to collect and hatch. And participate in turn-based battles with a party of multiple monsters. Monster Hunter Stories launches on Nintendo 3DS this fall. When something strange happens, we all know why. Yokai. Whether you missed it the first time or want to fall in love with it again, the definitive version of the sequel is here. Yokai Watch 2 Psychic Specters. You don't need to be a mind reader to know that the new exclusive quests will be wild. From the ability to befriend wicked yokai to the origin of Dark Neon. You'll even hop a ride on the Hexpress to a new resort area. Plus, the fan-favorite multiplayer action mode has been expanded into Psychic Yokai Watch Blasters, which lets you team up with friends to battle new challenging bosses. Once again, the time has come to get inspirited by the world of yokai in fall of 2017. NIS America is bringing some of their best to the West. The Cold Step series is celebrating its 20th anniversary. And what better way than with the release of Cold Step Revolt on Nintendo 3DS. Hundreds of cards means endless strategy in the newest entry of this popular card meets board game mashup. It's releasing August 29th in both standard and limited edition. Nearly an infinite amount of tales are waiting to be told in RPG Maker Fest. This RPG creation tool will allow you to share your stories online with other players when it launches on Nintendo 3DS. Downloadable content will include crossover character skins from Disgaea, Disgaea 5, and more, so you can share the greatness of Prinny with your friends. A free download called Maker Player will also be available in Nintendo eShop. It lets anyone play the RPGs you make with RPG Maker Fest, whether they own the full game or not. You can wield the full power of this incredible tool by purchasing the standard or limited edition when they launch in the US June 27th. You've never played an RPG quite like this before. In Miitopia, the Dark Lord has stolen the townspeople's faces, and only you can restore them. Cast Mii characters of your friends and your favorite people in roles across the kingdom by customizing their personalities, phrases, and jobs. As you journey across the land, your allies will bond, or even fight, so manage their room assignments and watch the hilarity unfold. Together you'll battle enemies, hunt treasure, and open up new areas of the map. The turn-based battles are straight out of a JRPG, except with a twist. Your allies have a mind of their own. The relationships you build affect their performance in battle. As their bonds deepen, they'll learn new abilities. And with a high friendship status, they may even team up for attacks. Defeat an enemy and you'll earn XP, which can be used to unlock more abilities. Imagine casting one of your best friends as a gritty warrior, or seeing your boss as a pop star. In Miitopia, you'll have that power. And many, many more, when the game launches later this year. Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia will take the series back to its roots, but one modern enhancement will expand your adventure. Downloadable content. Some of it will be free, and some will be paid. But no matter what, you can expect new maps and dungeons that will test your strategic merit, while earning you more experience, items, or gold. You may even learn more about character backstories. This content can be purchased individually, in packs, or all at once through a season pass, so you can access each as soon as it's released. Keep your eyes on the horizon for full details, including release timing. This year marks Kirby's 25th anniversary. In celebration, we've prepared a few fun little surprises. First, the Team Kirby Clash Deluxe game is headed to Nintendo eShop on Nintendo 3DS. In this co-op action game, Kirby, and Kirby must unite to do battle with giant enemies. Just select a quest in town and form a team from 4 roles: Sword Hero, Hammer Lord, Beam Mage, or Dr. Healmore. Go it alone or together with friends. There are tons of quests, plus a brand new challenge system. Team Kirby Clash Deluxe is a free-to-start game, and you can get started right away when it launches today. Next, Kirby's Blowout Blast is also headed to Nintendo 3DS systems, and that means Kirby is about to fight his way through a series of challenging 3D worlds. As you fight through 25 plus stages, the more enemies you inhale, the more firepower you wield. The stages are bigger than in Kirby 3D Rumble, and the challenges too. Wipe out entire troops of enemies all at once, and go for a bronze, silver, or gold star when the game becomes available for purchase this summer, exclusively in Nintendo eShop. And last but not least, a new multiplayer action game is in development for Nintendo 3DS systems. This title will be available in stores and on Nintendo eShop this holiday, so you can say that 2017 is Kirby's big year. In an odd twist of fate, a box is the last defense against annihilation. Luckily, QB is no ordinary box. Adorable phenomena known as Q-Babies lend him 4 new powers in the final game of the Box Boy trilogy. Create boxes to climb, hover, warp, and bomb your way to salvation. Do whatever it takes to solve more than 100 puzzles across 18 plus deadly worlds, and destroy the black smoke once and for all. Survive new hazards, beat new challenges, use new powers like the Box Rocket, and dress for success with amiibo costumes. If you have save data of the first 2 games, you can play this one with a Game Boy or monochromatic filter on. Try a demo for all 3 games today. And check out boxboy.nintendo.com for more info. Or better yet, just purchase and download the latest installment in the series, created by HAL Laboratory, the developers behind the Kirby series. Bye Bye Box Boy launches today on Nintendo eShop for Nintendo 3DS. 3 new amiibo figures of Link from past entries of the Legend of Zelda series will journey onto store shelves June 23rd. Plus, amiibo figures for Cloud, Corrin, and Bayonetta will roll into stores on July 21st. Each one will be available in 2 versions, but some will only be available at select retailers.
All right. Next up, let's reach a little deeper into our next title, ARMS. Please take a look.
Hi there, ladies and gents. I'm Biff, your trusty ARMS commentator. I'm usually pretty quiet, but I'm always game to talk about the ARMS game. The one with the weaponized extendable arms. So let's get into it. Now stay tuned and always stay in arm's reach. Sorry, couldn't resist. Yep, you guessed it. The biggest feature is the weaponry fighters attached to their fists, called arms. There are standard glove-type arms, multi-shot arms that really cause a ruckus, specialized curving arms for cornering opponents, and powerful heavyweight class arms, just to name a few. Each arm has a special attribute that activates when charged up. Light up your opponent to knock him down with fire. Stun and electrify your rival with lightning. Blow away the competition with a tornado of wind. And freeze your foe to slow him down with ice. You get the point. You want more, right? Perfectly normal. Try the Get Arms service, courtesy of the Arms League. The in-game currency you earn can be used for a chance to unlock new arms. The more you fight, the more arms you have in your arsenal. There's a veritable treasure trove of arms on offer, and the fighters who use them are pretty tricky themselves. The comeback king of spring, the rocket girl who never flinches, the elusive ninja, one tough mummy, and my idol, Ribbon Girl. Their unique traits are as distinguished as the fighters themselves. Not to mention, each one can mix and match any 2 available arms. That's right, fighting fans. The game gets deeper and deeper as players discover new combinations of fighters and arms. Now get a load of this. Today, I'll give you a peek into how deep the strategy can get and how much it depends on your own approach to arming and using a fighter in an actual match. Now it's time to get amped up as I introduce to you a new contender, the Ramen Bomber, Min Min. Min Min is one spicy noodle-wielding fighter. When she dodges in the air, she can also kick down enemy attacks. Wait, you didn't think punches are the only attacks in ARMS, did you? That's one big misconception. Min Min is living proof of that. She can throw her opponent, and her left arm can transform into a dragon. This augmented arm can maintain a longer charge, so beat the sauce out of your rivals. Anyone getting hungry? I wish my arms were made of noodles. Sorry, I lost myself there for a sec. Next up is the enthusiastic Spring Man. After charging up, release to initiate a shockwave that can repel attacks with his overflowing energy and determination. His famous forte involves deflecting his opponent's punches, then delivering powerful counterattacks. When his health drops below 25%, his never say die attitude kicks in, and his punches will stay perma-charged. His slick-back spring hair isn't just for show. He actually gets stronger after bouncing back from a desperate situation. You know, I feel a fight coming. Guess I'll serve as your commentator. Let's see, Min Min has a fiery Ram on the right and a fiery Dragon on the left. She must have a hot temper. Springman has a fiery Slap-a-Mander on the right and an icy Chilla on the left. Huh, not sure where he's going with that. Well, let's take up arms. Okay, here's Min Min. Right away, she's charging up, and there's her Dragon Arm. With her Dragon Arm and that Dragon Arm, it really looks like a real dragon. The dragon roasts opponents with a high-powered laser. There's a bit of delay before it fires, but its power is exceptional. She's got Springman cornered with her combo attacks, and a left, and a right, and a wait! Springman's counterattack has kicked in after deflecting a shockwave. Her Dragon Arm has no choice but to return to old ramen noodles. Both fighters continue to pummel each other. Ouch! He lands a right while dodging the laser. Min Min won't last if this keeps up. Carefully timing the gaps between punches is an important technique. Wow, she's dishing out quick hits like she's cutting noodles. You'll notice Min Min carefully arcing her punches with her Ram. She must be trying to rack up small hits over time. Boy, it's getting heated on the edge of the ramen bowl. Oh, again with the Dragon Arm. Her left arm is really charged up. Their assaults continue while they expertly dodge incoming attacks. And here comes the finisher. Wait, no! Instead, she avoids the counterattack with the guard. Talk about clarity under pressure. But just how much damage can her right arm take? Oh no, her right arm is down. She's completely open to attack until she can... Yes, she manages to recover. Her kick is smacking down his arms, and now a simultaneous punch. Both fighters are desperately trying to recover their footing. Bam! He took that powered-up dragon, and it's not looking good. Springman's last hope is his special comeback. He'll never give up. Min Min has to finish this match before it's too late. Can she seal the deal? Yes, she did, thanks to her dragon's laser. Min Min steals the win. So how'd that strike you? From the fighters to their arms and abilities, there's an arsenal of techniques to unleash, and the rivalry is heating up. Now that is ARMS. And when I say rivalry, I'm not just talking about one-on-one matches. Sometimes you just gotta shake things up with some two-on-two action. We got a lot more hiding up our long sleeves, so please stay tuned. Stretch the limits of your fighting skills when ARMS launches June 16th. Until next time, fighting fans.
Alongside the launch of ARMS, we'll release a new color of Joy-Con and Joy-Con strap, neon yellow. And we're also releasing a Joy-Con attachment that extends the battery life. It's nice to have when you want to play for a long time without charging. Next, we'll speed run through some more headlines for Nintendo Switch.
All right, time to speed run through some headlines. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe marks the return of fan-favorite racers and double items, while introducing a huge battle mode featuring all new battle courses. Plus more characters, karts, and tracks unlocked from the start than any Mario Kart game in series history. The online mode has a fun way of keeping things fresh. Choose Race, and you'll join 11 other players and switch between random assortments of tracks. Choose Battle, and you'll even switch between modes like Good Old Balloon Battle or Renegade Roundup. So be ready for anything. For a more personalized experience, you can also play with friends in a friend room, where you pick the rules, the items, the CPUs, and more. You can even create or enter a full-fledged in-game tournament. Speaking of, Nintendo will be hosting 2 of our own, one for racing and one for battle, to celebrate the launch of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Stay tuned for more info because the race begins when the game launches April 28th. Ultra Street Fighter II: The Final Challengers marks nearly 10 years since fans have seen a new iteration of the beloved classic. You can throw down as one of the original fighters in all-new HD graphics, or choose the retro pixel art. Ultra Street Fighter II also features 2 new playable characters, the first new additions in the classic roster in over 20 years. Evil Ryu has succumbed to the murderous Satsui no Hado, and M. Bison has brainwashed his friend, creating Violent Ken, bringing the roster to 19 fighters. See who reigns supreme in fierce local or online multiplayer competitions. For a change of pace, the all-new Way of the Hado mode lets you throw a Hadouken from a first-person perspective. And 2-player co-op battles give you and a friend 1 health bar for 2-player vs CPU beatdowns. Want to take it easy? Activate special moves with 1 button in handheld mode, using the light battle feature. No matter what, take the fight with you on Nintendo Switch. Ultra Street Fighter II: The Final Challengers launches May 26th. Minecraft, one of the most popular games of all time, is coming to Nintendo Switch. It's a game about placing blocks and going on adventures. Explore randomly generated worlds and build amazing things from the simplest homes to the grandest of castles. Play in creative mode with unlimited resources, or mine deep into the world in survival mode, crafting weapons and armor to fend off dangerous mobs. You don't have to explore or build the world alone though. Up to 8 crafters can play together online, while 4 can join each other in local multiplayer on the TV or in tabletop mode, supporting both split screen and the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. Nintendo and Minecraft fans alike will also be happy to learn that the Super Mario Mashup Pack will be launching on the Nintendo Switch console. Play and explore a world full of classic characters and places from the Mario universe. Minecraft Nintendo Switch Edition, including the Super Mario Mashup Pack, will launch on Nintendo eShop May 11th and in stores at a later date. Happy building! Neo Geo masterpieces make awesome additions to any arcade, and Nintendo Switch is no different. In fact, arcade classic Samurai Showdown 4 will be available tomorrow. Look out for these other Golden Age greats coming soon. 99% of the world is dangling in the evil clutches of Eggman and his terrifying new power. But never fear. Sonic is here to face the danger. Now fight back. Free the world from Eggman using the Blue Blur's stylish high-speed moves. And who is this alternate version of Sonic, summoned to this world by Eggman? Can he survive all the traps and return to his home world? A new ally will rise up as well. Sonic Forces Races to the West, Holiday 2017. There's one more Sonic speeding this way. After more than 20 years, a new installment in the classic series' original style is almost here. In addition to brand new stages, some popular stages from past titles have been souped up. Sonic Mania will dash onto Nintendo Switch this summer. Project Nakuru is one big battle of an action game in which players compete by flipping panels. There's only one rule you need to know. Stomp a panel and it'll change to your color. Fight to win by changing the most panels to your color and blow up your opponents. Sometimes flipping panels can yield items. They can boost your movement speed and panel flipping power. Play with friends in 4-player local multiplayer, or connect to the internet to face down opponents the world over. Look out for this title exclusively on Nintendo eShop for Nintendo Switch this summer. Fate Extella is headed to Nintendo Switch with an all-star cast of characters from the series. Lead a mythical servant in a fight for dominance against hordes of enemies in this intense action game. With overwhelming power on your side, you'll crush thousands of enemies all by yourself. Fate Extella will launch on July 25th. Tactical, dangerous, over the top, Disgaea 5 Complete is many things with many distinct characters. You'll follow the Princess Overlord of the gorgeous netherworld, Seraphina, and of course, the demonic wanderer Killia on his quest for revenge. A demo of the game will haunt Nintendo eShop soon, and you can explore the netherworld to your heart's content when the standard and limited edition launches on Nintendo Switch May 23rd. We're about 2 weeks out from the release of the 4-player puzzle mashup game Puyo Puyo Tetris. While you're probably familiar with Tetris, you may be new to Puyo Puyo, a puzzle series that's downright famous in Japan, but hasn't been seen much in the West. Similar to Tetris, pairs of Puyo fall from the top of your board and collect at the bottom. You'll move and rotate the Puyos, but unlike Tetris, your goal isn't to create a line, but to gather a clump of the same colored Puyos and clear them from your board. The difference may seem small, but the strategies are very different, especially when you start setting up chains to drop garbage Puyo and sabotage your opponent's board. Are you up for the challenge? Well, a demo is launching on Nintendo eShop shortly after this presentation ends. The demo will give you a taste of both the solo arcade and multiplayer arcade modes. Unsure how to play? Well, don't worry. Lessons mode is included as well. Give it a try. One of the most famous board games ever is coming to Nintendo Switch. Now up to 6 players can enjoy Monopoly in a whole new way and bring the board game to life anywhere at any time. With HD Rumble, it even feels like the dice are rolling in your hand. There are exclusive tokens to earn, new boards to discover, and new rules that will change your strategy. Be ready for more additional content, new twists and interactions as you take over the whole board when the game launches this fall. Rayman Legends Definitive Edition is the ultimate version of the award-winning game. Pick your favorite character and get absorbed once again into the mythical glade of dreams. The gang must run, jump, and smack their way through different worlds to save the day and discover the secrets of each legendary painting. Exclusive to the Nintendo Switch, the Kung Foot experience now offers a solo mode and a tournament mode for pitting up to 8 teams against each other. You can also connect 2 consoles for playing in local co-op. Get ready for a lot of laughs when the game launches later this year. If you're game for something different, then THQ Nordic has your back. The dieselpunk shoot-'em-up game Cinemora X was co-developed by Grasshopper Manufacture and Digital Reality. Find out what choices you'd make if you knew exactly how much life you had left to live when this stirring tale of honor and morality launches on Nintendo Switch this summer, complete with a local co-op and versus mode. Battle Chasers Night War is an RPG inspired by console classics and based on the fan-favorite Battle Chasers comic book series. You can dive deep into its dungeons and even deeper into its turn-based combat when the game releases first on Nintendo Switch in late summer. Getting paid to be the bad guys is as sweet of a gig as ever in Payday 2 for Nintendo Switch.
Okay, let's do this.
You and 3 other players can band together for intense co-op action and rise to the top of the criminal underworld for bigger jobs and better paydays. Use the cash you stash to customize your character with new skills that change the way you play. A huge amount of Payday 2 content will be released on Nintendo Switch, so it'll be high time to open this vault later this year. Some of the most popular Namco games of all time are headed to Nintendo Switch. With Namco Museum, you can play classics like Pac-Man, Galaga, or Splatterhouse anytime, anywhere. And multiplayer favorites like Rolling Thunder, Sky Kid, and Tank Force are perfect for local co-op with family and friends. You can use the standard horizontal display, or even switch to a vertical layout for that classic arcade feel. Stop and resume your gameplay at any time with ease while testing your skills in fun challenge modes designed for each game. The classic fun begins when Namco Museum comes to Nintendo eShop on Nintendo Switch this summer. We're happy to confirm that limited quantities of the standalone Nintendo Switch dock will be available for purchase May 19th. You can hook up an extra dock to a separate TV, so you can switch from one to the other without unplugging your main setup. If you're interested, it's available at participating retailers or head to store.nintendo.com. Grab 3 of your best Inkling teammates and fire up your Wii U console, because Battlefy is hosting the Splatoon US Inkling Open, the online event you've been waiting for. If you're 18 years or older and based in the US, you can register your team at battlefy.com/Splatoon, where you'll also find details, rules, and tournament times. Who knows? If you splat with the best of them, you may even win a trip to E3 2017.
Well, let's dive into our last game of the day, Splatoon 2. I hope you like it.
Are your regulatory systems functioning? On behalf of the Squid Research Lab, I certainly hope so, because the findings we're about to present may be startling. Oh, that's right. You may be wondering about the Squid Research Lab. Well, we research squids in a lab, and other things too, like that strange video. Perhaps what you saw seemed a bit unusual, but research indicates that freelance power egg collection is becoming quite popular among Inklings in a new mode called Salmon Run. Luckily, one of our fearless researchers went on location and captured this curious activity live on camera. Now, we share our findings with the world. For the first time on film, we can see this remote location, separated from Inkopolis, on the other side of the ocean. This derelict man-made island is a hotspot for freelance power egg collectors. Amazing! Inklings super jumping to the island! We've concluded that 4 Inklings make a team, just like in Turf War. And what are they wearing? The implications! It looks like some kind of special gear provided just for this task. And it appears they're given weaponry too. It's a power egg collector's job to defeat creatures of the salmonid genus who habitually attack for some unknown reason. And it's not just one wave, which is a plus when you're collecting power eggs. As you can see, they can be acquired from debilitated salmonid. It may sound easy, but what's this? Some sort of salmonid. To tell the truth, it's unlike anything we've ever seen. Just wait till I tell my boss. Oh, that's it. It's a special kind of boss salmonid that Inklings are paid a bounty to hunt. I'm afraid our brave squid friends are no match for this beast. At least, not with their current strategy. Oh, one of the Inklings is down. And another. Yet somehow the incapacitated Inkling has deployed a lifesaver to call for help. Oh, I see. When a fallen freelancer gets inked by an ally, that Inkling can be resuscitated. Freelancing does have its benefits. Communication is key because Inklings that work together win together. Unless they don't. What an honor it is to witness this incredible struggle. How odd. These eggs have a rare appearance, even among power eggs. Could they be golden eggs? And now it looks like the Inklings are transporting these golden eggs to a containment unit in the center of the site. Aha! Could it be that this is the freelancer's ultimate objective? To harvest these golden eggs and haul them to Inkopolis? Indeed, after many trials and tribulations, the Inklings have collected their golden egg prize and fulfilled their corporate agenda. What we witnessed here is the harsh reality of one suspicious part-time job. Why would such a dismal occupation be so popular among Inklings? Well, it might be due to the rewards. I've heard they're quite, fresh, is it? More research may be required. What a day for science! If we compile any new information, you will be the first to know. We're planning to release a research report on the ongoing battle with Octarians, so stay tuned and stay fresh. That reminds me, we have one last report for you. It's a scientific fact that new Splatoon 2 series amiibo will be released. There are 3 new figures: Inkling Girl, Inkling Boy, and Inkling Squid. When you tap these amiibo, the figure character will appear in-game and befriend you. Befriend an amiibo character and they'll remember your favorite outfits, weapons, gear, and option settings. Tap your amiibo on the customization menu screen and you can swap your outfit with the amiibo figure's outfit. I'd imagine it comes in handy when waging turf wars at a friend's house. To conduct your own research, try snapping a photo with your amiibo friend. That way you can both wear your favorite outfits. Then you can share your photos with human friends on social media via the Nintendo Switch album. Sometimes your amiibo friend may give you special gear as a gift. The game is compatible with previously released Splatoon amiibo figures as well. Well, fellow researchers, today's presentation is over. We look forward to sharing more research in the future. Thanks for... Oh, forgive my apparent short-term memory loss. I have one last fact for you. Splatoon 2 launches July 21st. And the new amiibo release that same day. That's all for today's report. Squid Research Lab, signing off.
I hope you enjoyed this new Nintendo Direct. Thanks for watching.
Welcome back. I'm Jose Otero. This is Brian Altano.
Hey.
And this is Marty Silva. And we are Nintendo Voice Chat here, IGN's official sort of Nintendo show. And Brian is causing powers with his mind, but causing some special effects with his mind. But let's ask now, really quick, let's begin with the initial Nintendo Direct reaction. I want your high points and I want your hot takes.
Can we do it in one word?
Start with one word.
Busy.
Busy. Okay, explain in a second. What would you say?
Oh, that would have been my word. This is 2 words, release dates.
Okay.
Right.
Which I was super impressed by.
Okay.
You know, one of the big problems throughout the entire life of the Wii U was that Nintendo would release a game, we would turn on our system, play it, and then they'd go dark for a while.
Yeah.
Right.
What this did is showed us a reason why seemingly every week up through Splatoon's launch, we are going to have something to play.
Yep.
And it also showed us why 3DS, is still relevant.
It seems like we're getting big tentpole first-party stuff every month or so, and then a bunch of cool sort of like retro or indie or third-party things in between, which is literally exactly the perfect scenario for Nintendo Switch. That's exactly what you want,
So people wanted. You said busy. Why would you say busy?
Just format-wise, if you look at the average sort of E3 press conference, they're usually sort of like drawn out, a little more slower pace. There's long-winding. The old versions had a lot of PowerPoint slides. The new versions have devs who come on and talk sort of ad nauseum. This was sometimes 10, 20, 30 seconds. Boom, brand new topic. Boom, brand new announcement. Sometimes it was almost like, wait, did they announce a new? New thing. Okay, did they announce a new? New hardware? Are they new?
They jokingly said, "Let's speed run through headlines" at the start, and I was not prepared for just how much and how quickly the information was being presented. It was almost like there was no. At one point during the show, while we were watching this here, you said, breathe. Take a minute to breathe.
I mean, the format felt like WarioWare. And I thought at the end we'd get WarioWare. And I was just like, oh, maybe this is all like there's a reason for the madness.
Maybe instead of WarioWare games now, we just get them in playable and press conference format.
So my word for this Direct would be middling. And I say that because I think the first-party stuff still looks good. I feel like there's also a promise for more coming. They're going to have a lot more to say about Splatoon. I think they're struggling to present what ARMS is. I think that fight went on way too long. And I thought that when we got to the third-party stuff, at least on Switch, I still don't see big, exciting announcements. I see stuff that has existed in other places before. Granted, there's a lot of genre variety there, and I think that they deserve credit for that. And I would not take that credit away. And we're going to get into it, but like even, and I think there were smart moves in there, like getting Minecraft on there early. You brought that up while we were just sitting here.
Yeah, I think if you look at the Nintendo Switch launching out the gate, really strong, really fast, sort of like, think about it like F-Zero, right? You hit the button at the right time, you get that jump start. This was sort of like a little speed ramp to get them to E3. I don't think this is I don't think we needed the biggest thing in the world to carry them over, but I
agree with that point.
I think that like we're getting a lot at E3, and like I was saying to you before this even started, depending on how good or bad something like this is, right? A Nintendo Direct, I think a weak Direct during the Wii U era was devastating. Middling Direct during the Nintendo Switch era right before E3, not so bad. I can handle that.
And I will say they're giving 3DS a really good send-off, and we're going to get into that in a minute, but we're going to lead off with Switch stuff. But I do want to say, at least based on the first-party stuff, I feel like, okay, so far this Direct tells me you're saving Mario Odyssey, you're saving Splatoon, more Splatoon 2, Xenoblade 2, Fire Emblem Warriors, and other surprises
Zelda
as
DLC.
your focus for E3.
Which I think is great.
That's
honestly.
smart.
Like, what I'm excited, also the fact that ARMS is releasing pretty much during E3 means they're not going to devote a lot of time to it at the press conference. I'm honestly hoping for a strong Mario push, games that haven't been announced, those games you mentioned, maybe talking about online, talking about virtual console.
Okay, so let's drill down then. Let's start with Nintendo Switch games, and let's begin with, I mean, passing mention on Mario Kart 8, we knew that was going to happen April 28th. Let's lead off with Splatoon, which to me was a high point, because they started talking about Salmon Run, which is a sort of horde mode. It's a PvE mode that's in the game. That's great because it was very light on single player content the first time around. How'd you guys think it looked?
I mean, Splatoon, or Nintendo as a whole, is one of those, like, we haven't had a lot of games that support a horde mode-ish mode on a Nintendo console. You know, there's stuff like, Halo, Gears, Uncharted. These all have those sort of things. It's cool that a tentpole Nintendo first-party game is getting that, because horde mode like that is awesome. So I'm really stoked to be playing.
I found the art direction at this level very fascinating on a Splatoon level, because usually they're sort of bright and neon and energized, and this is dark and grim and
gross.
It looks like a fish, like a really sad fishing show. Like, I like it.
And there's a grim apocalypse to Splatoon that is not mentioned except in like text form. I feel like this is the first time they've actually shown it to people. They also show like these new enemies, these chum. I like that the whole presentation for Splatoon continues to be this nature special that you just kind of wandered into.
This was like the dark chapter of the nature special.
I like this a lot, and
they become overrun.
Like we were saying in the pre-show, we want more content that'll work offline. I'm hoping that's what this leans into.
Then maybe you could play with bots. That's a great point.
But you were saying one of the things they really needed to do was sort of differentiate weapon-wise and ability-wise why this is different than Splatoon 1. And aside from the sort of down-and-out ability to revive a teammate, we didn't really get that in terms of weapons.
And I almost wonder if going through the footage again, will we see things they haven't shown before? Maybe. I couldn't tell just quickly watching, but trust us to go through this footage.
There's a thin line with sequels between if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and reinvent the wheel. And I think this is sort of treading that carefully right now, no pun intended, but I really hope that we do start to see this game absolutely define itself as a brand new entry in the franchise, and not what just feels like more cool stuff from the original game.
All right, so then let's lean into ARMS at this point. So ARMS has so Splatoon 2, by the way, is coming out July 21st. ARMS is released June 16th, which is the week of E3 2017.
That's
it's
not
that
great for
Friday.
business.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
But it is just in time for the spring deadline that Nintendo set when they announced the title back in January.
Right.
But let's talk about what they showed. So Min Min, a new character who has ramen arms.
And a ramen stage that was set in like a ramen bowl.
Yeah, it looked like a ramen bowl, absolutely. And they showed briefly a 2v2 mode that just looked crazy. And they staged a battle with an announcer that, to me, this went too long. But granted, let's look at this for what it is. A fighting game, a new fighting game at that, is a hard thing to sell because unless you are into fighting games, and I don't know if we're necessarily the fighting game crowd, like I casually kind of play around with different games, love watching my Street Fighter V tournaments and my Smash tournaments, but overall, I'm not sure if this game is going to find that middle ground yet, and I was hoping for more than one character reveal today, and so far all we got was one.
Yeah, this looks like it seems like it's having a little bit of an identity crisis in terms of being a fighting game on, like, are you going to be deep and serious enough to be in the same breath as some of those games you mentioned before and maybe have a place at EVO some year? Or is this more a casual pick up and play, have fun? Like, it has some, like, Power Stone vibes to me, but not quite as party orientated.
And I think the answer is it's a little bit of both, but it's going to have a tough time finding that exactly what it needs to be. Because I think when you play this game with motion controls, it definitely feels a little more button mashy. It definitely feels a little more casual.
Which is crazy though, because that'll get you beat up so quickly. Like there is a methodology and a meticulous sort of approach to how you have to fight someone. And I do think the first part of this presentation, specifically this fight you're seeing right here, is showing you that. I just think it went on a little too long. It needed a bit more energy. You know, when you think of some other fighting games, this is not to knock this for not having this, but there's sort of a flare at the end, like, oh man, they have their super, it's going to go down. I feel like I didn't really get that here, even though I may have gotten it and just, it happened and I didn't even notice.
I think characters are really going to define this, and if people lock into the ones they really love, you might get a sort of like, I am getting minor like sort of Overwatch vibes from the way
the color art direction,
the way they're sort of overemphasizing the character, which is a very good place to be, right? And the setting was cool, the art direction's awesome, it's bright and beautiful. I just want to see like how this really pans out. Like if you buy this game, is this going to be something that you'll predominantly want to play in single player, multiplayer?
My one worry is that everything I've seen so far, nothing looks bad, but the whole thing seems slight. A little bit. Like I just don't know what the meat and potatoes here yet. And that's not saying there aren't going to be. That's just saying that I haven't really seen them yet.
I agree. And I think the 2v2 mode is a smart way to at least get into some of that. I was hoping they would go more into what this game is. Instead, it started with a recap and then led to this fight, which again, I wasn't overjoyed with. But let's move on then with one more ARMS-related thing, which was that they announced a Neon Joy-Con set. A Neon Joy-Con strap. So if you're familiar with Joy-Con pricing, that's $80 for two of them. The color's really rad, and then you have also a strap attachment that can go with it for $7.99 normally. At least those are U.S. prices.
And you know,
and then this thing,
this thing is bizarre.
So this is called the Joy-Con AA battery accessory. This to me
rolls right off the tongue.
Rolls right off the tongue, and it is a. It's sort of a thoughtful accessory that I don't think anyone wanted. And when I say thoughtful, what I mean by that is just that they're taking into consideration the folks that play ARMS are going to forget to basically attach them to their system to charge them. So that you don't have to go through the wait. You just slap these things on, you're ready to go. It looks like they attach by the rail, but that's not the thing that drains power the fastest. Well, except when you're playing portably, which is the issue, right? Like the Switch itself needs a battery pack. Did the Joy-Con need one when they last for 20 hours?
It reminds me, it seems like it's for people who want to play ARMS but also weight train a little bit. It's like when Goku does push-ups and double gravity, so you can be playing ARMS a little bit of extra weight.
No, it's like those guys who are really good at running and they put weights on their legs.
Like weird dudes.
You don't have to show off. This is kind of asks a question like, who is this for specifically? But I will say that the Neon Joy-Cons are really cool. When we first saw the Joy-Con colors, we geeked out about the fact that like Nintendo is constantly re-releasing different colored 3DSs, but going through that whole process of like system transfers and buying a brand new system for $200, it's kind of not ideal, right? But the idea of here, I mean, Per Schneider, who does NVC with us, he has a whole bunch of different Joy-Cons, and he's like, today I'm going to go double blue. I'll go red.
It's like choosing a tie.
Accessorize.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's cool that this yellow one is very much like the yellow in the title of ARMS. And so that clues me in that could totally see for Splatoon we get these neon green and purples.
Yeah,
for Mario we get red and white, and I think that's a cool move.
Well, here's the thing, right? No matter how we feel about the Joy-Con AA battery pack accessory, I'm saying it right for the sake of saying it right. I will say though that this is the first time so far with Switch where they've released something that is an attachment to the system itself.
Yeah, that's a good point.
This is going to continue. Like, I don't know what the accessories will be, and I don't think we could even in our most lucid dreams. But I believe that there will be games that will come out with a specific accessory attached to what it does and why.
Do you remember when the 3DS got the boat? The
Frankenstick
boat.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be that for the Switch.
Yeah, but hopefully not as garish or as repulsive. No, that thing was comfortable. It was just ugly to look at. All right, so we had Minecraft Switch Edition is coming May 11th, and that it supports 8 players online, 4 in local multiplayer, even in tabletop mode. You can play 4-player split screen.
That's cool.
And it includes the Super Mario Mashup Pack. Retail version will ship later.
So it includes, right? It's not like that's not separate DLC.
Yes.
No,
okay, it's in the pack.
Included in the pack.
I think that's really cool.
You can buy whatever Minecraft DLC has come out that is cleared. You can't have the Microsoft.
I mean, this is undeniably huge. This is one of the biggest video games ever in the history of the medium. It took years for Minecraft to come to Wii U, and I think they were a little late to the party on that. I was glad when it finally showed up to get this, because this is awesome. I don't know if I've talked about this before, but I've played like 100 hours of Minecraft. I love this game. And I'm not even like, I'm not a little kid, as you can see, who hunches over a system like that and plays it for hundreds of hours like they did on iOS, Kindle, tablets everywhere. So this could be really big, and it's right around the corner.
Okay, really quickly before we go into some third party, I do want to mention the standalone dock is going to show up at retailers next month, so you can stop raiding the Nintendo Online store to buy all the replacement docks, which
you
is...
you can now scratch your Switch screen in any room of the house.
Possibly. So the Switch third-party section, this is where my attention started to wane a bit. Because I feel like even though the variety is there for at least genre, from the genre perspective, Nindies look better to me. Nindies honestly look better to me. The Nindies presentation the week of the Switch launch was more exciting to me.
I mean, a lot of the third-party stuff I looked at and was like, well, why isn't it more than that? When we got Rayman Legends, I was like, well, why isn't also Rayman Origins and just pack all of them in together?
Well,
when we got
Legends is sort of like a hybrid of like it's got a but you're right. Yeah,
but then we got Monopoly, and you said immediately, you're like, there are officially licensed like Zelda, Pokemon, Mario Monopolies, like. Put that on there. That would be awesome.
Instead of Monopoly-themed Monopoly.
It feels like a lot of these are like sort of like, hey, we're figuring out Virtual Console. You're going to be able to download a ton of classic games. Just here's some stuff before that. Like, give us time to figure that out.
So I think it also shows. Sorry, it just also shows that third parties are taking this wait and see approach.
Yes.
They're very much going.
That's exactly it.
All right, let's see where this goes. And they're leaning. Some of them are leaning into nostalgia. Namco did that with the sort of the Namco Museum arcade, whatever that thing is called. Sega is obviously leaning into that a bit with Sonic. I mean, Sonic is a classic IP. And then you have Capcom, who's doing it with Ultra Street Fighter 2.
And then you had all those SNK games like
you have Archives as well. So
Archives,
it just feels like for the majority of third party, they're just leading into old stuff to grab the casual consumer versus new exciting games.
But the great news is that Switch sales are really strong, and I think people are going to that wait and see approach is going to turn into we want to be part of this conversation approach. And I think by E3 and by fall, absolutely, you're going to get some really concrete, legit third-party game announcements. And right now they're playing it safe, and I honestly think that like there's some cool stuff in there, and it's going to help you sort of get through the week to week while you're waiting for the big tentpole Nintendo stuff. But I want more.
So speaking of that, then let's run down what got announced with a date. Just tell me what you thought. Quick hot take. You got a minute. Don't spend too much time. So Puyo Puyo Tetris, April 25th.
Yeah, cool. I'm playing it now. We'll talk about that next week.
Don't stream it. You'll get arrested.
Okay, Disgaea 5. Disgaea 5 complete May 23rd.
Damon Hatfield is very happy.
Yeah, he's all over that.
Okay, but this falls into the port scenario for me where I'm like, okay, the Disgaea fan or the RPG fan is going to at least be well serviced until Project Octopath Traveler shows up because
rolls right off
the tongue. All right, Ultra Street Fighter 2, the final challengers, May 26th. I'm excited for this game only because I'm always excited for Street Fighter 2. I think I bought it every time it comes out.
Yeah, I think
I'm not excited for the Hado whatever mode. I think that's a bit silly for me. But in terms of being able to pull out a controller and anywhere just drop a challenge on someone and be
play
like,
one of the best games of all time.
There's some interesting new ideas in this. The 2-on-1 mode that they're adding, the new Violent Ken, which spoilers, Ken was always violent.
The whole game is about street fighting.
I still think the pricing's a little much, $40, but we'll see who jumps on that.
Fate Extella is out July 25th. This is a Musou Dragon Warrior style game that just didn't look good.
It really did not look like it looked sort of ugly and garish.
This might be one of those games that looks great when you're holding that screen up to your face, but I think it did not demo well here today.
No, it didn't look good. Project Mekura, which is out this summer. It's the butt-stomping Mies game that they talked about at GDC. So far, you guys don't seem as interested as I am, at least. I mean, go.
I think with a game like that, the hook is that if it's fun to play, I don't care, but the art direction felt like very chibi Funko Pop Master Chief, not wild about it.
To me, it feels like a single Mario Party minigame.
Yes.
And I'm like, maybe you could take that one mechanic and make a hook out of it, but to me, I'm just like, butt stomping isn't one of my favorite things. It's in a lot of my favorite games, but it's not one of my favorite parts of those games.
Okay. Yeah, I would not put butt stomping in my top 5 favorite things either.
So Namco Museum is out this summer. Play Dig Dug again for the first time.
Yeah, it's
along with some others. There were some cool arcade games.
I think the cool thing about this thing is the ability to turn it vertically and play in like the original arcade perspective, which is nice. I would like them to sort of put out a vertical stand for the Switch so you can pop off that screen and just play with two controllers side by side.
I like that idea.
Basically set up a little arcade cabinet on your desk.
Sonic Mania out this summer. Sonic Forces this holiday. Let's just round them together. Sonic Mania looks fantastic. Sonic Forces TBD.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah. And everyone who's played Mania has really loved it so far. And obviously now we haven't gone hands-on with Forces yet.
So Monopoly is out fall 2017, and like we said, even though it uses HC Rubble in a neat way, sorry, I just don't care. But you know what? That's a casual play. Give them the props for that, I guess.
Yeah, Marty and I were saying that board games are a good look for the Switch, even though like it doesn't seem like it's the best idea. But having 2 players right there with your own screen, it's the kind of thing where you can play a board game on an airplane.
Yeah, totally.
I'd like to see sort of a Hasbro collection. You know, bring more board games.
You don't bring Monopoly boards on airplanes and just like put them up and just like
I lose all the money. It's bad.
Rayman Legends Definitive Edition still does not have a release date, but it is coming out in 2017. And I'm only excited because Rayman Legends is a game I got to review when I first got to IGN. I really enjoyed it. The idea of playing it on the go excites me. The idea of getting, I did.
That was the last game I reviewed for IGN before I stopped reviewing games.
Oh, you're thinking of Rayman Origins.
No,
I'm
Legends.
No, I'm Legends. You're Origins.
Wow.
That's it.
What if we have 2 reviews on the side?
There might be.
It's called One Up.
So there it is. THQ Nordic is bringing Cinemora EX and Battle Chasers Night War this summer. Cinemora.
I love Suda. That is not one of the Suda games I love.
Okay.
That
being
bums me out.
Grasshopper manufacturer, involvement.
Yeah, and I think the Battle Chasers is based off the Joe Mad comic, which is also sort of the Darksiders design.
The art direction's really cool.
Art direction's cool. I sort of want to see what the game actually plays
I need to
like.
play it. Yeah,
totally.
my verdict was out on that one, but I did like art direction. Finally, Payday 2 is out in 2017.
That was really surprised to see that.
Genre mismatch, audience mismatch a little because you just don't expect the Nintendo fan to be into bank heists, but that doesn't mean that those people won't show up. That game's immensely popular. We just don't play it.
Yeah, and it's also, to me, like the sort of online shooter thing on a system that it might not be online all the time is always interesting. But that being said, it's a cool option to have. Like if you can connect to Wi-Fi and play some Payday, go for it.
Yeah. Right, let's transition then to Amiibo announcements. I think there were 13 Amiibo revealed during the stream, maybe.
3 Zelda, 3 Splatoon, and 6 Smash Brothers.
And a Pikmin.
And a Pikmin. There we
go. And a Pikmin. Yeah, all right. So I think we hit the number. So let's start then with Cloud, Corrin, and Bayonetta.
Are these 3 boys right here?
Finally. Oh, okay. Or let's just start with Zelda. Fine, since it's like that. Or both.
Shut up. It's happening so quickly.
Let's go back to Majora's Mask Link, Twilight Princess Link, and Skyward Sword Link, please, only because I love to freeze frame it and just look at this, because these are basically based off of the key art that was in those original games.
Key art?
Yeah, sure. So far we're not going back, but that's okay. I think they look rad. They come out on June 23rd, the Zelda set. That's fantastic.
The Majora's Mask one is kind of questionable because I'm surprised they didn't just give you the Majora's Mask. Like you have a Goron.
He's holding the Goron mask.
Yeah, that's cute. Yeah, that's old key art. I've seen that pose like 100 times.
I'm a little bummed that if we're going to do more Zelda amiibo, that we don't do some of the awesome side characters in Breath of the Wild or like some of the.
There they are.
Yeah, but
what
some
about Bobocline?
No, not but like
they
some of
got him. He's wearing a G-string.
Like the four. No, they're not called guardians. What are they?
Yeah.
The keepers of the divine beasts.
Yeah.
Like the 4 of them would be cool. I want that sexy
the
fish
champions.
man. Yeah, the champions. Yeah.
Look at those ice heels that Skyward Sword Link is wearing.
Yeah, those occasionally show up, but you can see Nintendo's doing a much better job at
masking
they've been knocking it out of the park as far as some of the amiibo designs go. Now let's talk about the Cloud, Corrin, and Bayonetta amiibo. Let's look at those on the screen. Finally, 19 months later, I did the math while we were waiting. 584 days since the moment those things got announced.
Your consolation prize for waiting so long is that you get them in 2 flavors each, and different poses too, which was really
I need these to finish the set. I've never collected a full set of anything in my life. I decided the Smash Brothers amiibo series would be the one time I would do it. And on July 21st, I am paying $13 times $6 to get them all.
I think
but I'm
it's cool
excited
that we have like traditional Final Fantasy VII Cloud and then Advent Children Cloud, Bayonetta 1 and 2 Bayonetta.
I love that Corrin, there's male-female, because they did not do that with Robin.
Yeah,
Robin
really
is
cool.
a similar character in Fire Emblem from Awakening. Same circumstance, main character, you get to choose gender. They did not have that. I'm glad they have that here.
They didn't say if these are going to come in 2-packs or not, did they?
They did not. I would assume they don't.
I would assume they don't, They know that these big adult amiibo babies like us will just buy them no matter what.
What I fear is Bayonetta is GameStop exclusive, and Target gets
not
Cloud.
again.
Yes, again.
Yeah,
Believe
that's right. The
it's
Wawa
scary.
gas station in New Jersey.
There's a Wawa. There's a Pikmin amiibo, July 28th that comes out with the game. I thought that one looked really good. I did not queue up footage or prepare our friends for it, but there was also the Splatoon amiibo, which looked fantastic. Thought those amiibo looked great. Definitely improvements over the first set, and the first set looked great too. And Nintendo took a chance on Splatoon the first time around as a new IP. Those amiibo were the top-selling amiibo in Japan because Splatoon hit so well there. I was wondering if they do the same for ARMS. I said, oh, amiibo.
Here they are. So I think that what's really awesome about these amiibo is that the poses are incredibly playful. And you look at the squid, like just the way he's flying off of there, and there's none of those like pea stands or like the ice blocks that they're sitting on. There's some great stuff. Like the one in the middle is straight up like Nickelodeon.
Look at
gas.
that Splat dualies right there too, like
They're
on the
so
first
cool.
character.
They're
Yeah,
so
that looks
cool.
great.
I think they look awesome. I was a little underwhelmed by how they're being utilized exclusively in the game. How they're sort of just like, it'll remember your outfit, and then you can
take pictures with them.
Yeah, and I'm like,
and that's 2 for 2 with Splatoon amiibos not really having like the most defined usage. It just feels like a cool excuse for them to build these toys, but not necessarily.
Yeah, that's amiibo in a nutshell, right? I think it took us a long time to finally just admit, look, they're not finding the best use for them. It's cool that if I own a game down the line that supports one of them, I will swipe, scan, and see. You guys line up at my desk every freaking day to scan Breath of the Wild.
Because Zelda did it good.
I think Breath of the Wild did it really well.
It's a sweepstakes for an outfit.
It's fun though. It keeps you using it every day, right? Which is better than just like buying DLC once.
Okay, fine. I will concede. So then, Nintendo 3DS is getting a proper send-off. So let's transition to that and talk about first. In order of release, we have Fire Emblem Echoes is coming out on May 19th. We knew that. DLC is coming. Some will be free. Some will be paid. More details later, but there's a season pass.
Right.
We've seen this with Fire Emblem before a little bit. We've seen sort of the intent to sell more with that game. I know when Pear saw it at PAX East, they didn't want to say it one way or another. It's good to hear they will continue to support that game after it is out. Let's go down the list, though, of 3DS software, right? So Ever Oasis on June 23rd. My favorite segment because the poor director of that game, producer, whoever that was, he looked terrified.
It looked like there was a gun off screen. Looked very strange. The game looks cool, though.
Yeah, there's an RPG with sort of an Egyptian aesthetic behind it. And one that I'm really curious to play a lot more of. It's also being made by Grezzo, which is the team that made Ocarina of Time 3D for Nintendo and Majora's Mask 3D for Nintendo.
Good team.
Did you guys feel throughout that entire 3DS thing, I'm like, these games look pretty cool, but I do wish they were on my Switch. Like,
I do feel that way, but I will admit that when we've seen this generational transition between Nintendo platforms, what Nintendo has done in the past is said, oh, Mother 3, never mind. No, we're not putting this out. I feel like they're bringing out everything. I mean, Monster Hunter Stories is on this list. Let's go through it. So RPG Maker, FES on June 27th. Not the hugest RPG Maker fan, but regardless, smart move for the people who care, I think. I would love to build Brian an RPG epic about him. I might just do that, or challenge our listeners to, if there's a way to share that
Build your best Brian game?
Build your best.
Breath of the Wild.
There we go.
Yeah, we did that.
We did it.
Hey Pikmin will release on July 28th.
Love this title.
Okay, talk about what you thought of footage.
I think it's incredibly different for the franchise, obviously. This is not our first time seeing it, but we are seeing a lot of new stuff, like Olimar swimming, which is bizarre. Didn't know that man could do that, but he's got an airtight helmet, so it works.
Yeah, if he can space, he can swim.
Yeah, he ran on the water before.
This is a great franchise, and I think in lieu of waiting every 3 or 4 years for a legit sequel, this is a cool kind of stopgap. The 2-screen thing is tripping me up. I don't think it's ever truly worked. We've seen it with Yoshi Island on DS. We've seen it with stuff like, going back to like Beautiful Joe.
The gap always sort of gets in the way.
It's always kind of an issue.
Let's see how it works out with this one.
Yeah, I like the fact it has like a Lost Vikings, Mario Donkey Kong vibe to it, where it's sort of that 2D. Lemmings, which is cool to me. I think that I would rather have this on a 3DS than a sort of dumbed down traditional 3D Pikmin game. But that being said, I would still love a Pikmin game on Switch.
The amiibo usage is interesting because it's a portable game, so I guess you're bringing that too.
Yeah, they didn't go into specifics on what it does, but man, it looked great. Like
cool
again, like a really cool looking amiibo, and hopefully the first time that Pikmin will hit well. I just feel like every game gets a lot of attention. I feel Pikmin 3 is a completely underrated game by a lot of people on
One
Wii
of
U
the best.
because it was on Wii U. But we move on
That's
to
the most Wii U has been said all day.
Yeah, it has. So Concept Revolt is coming on August 29th. If you know Concept, you know this game. Apparently this announcement was already out there, so this is not new information. And Nintendo, proof once again that Nintendo likes to treat their Nintendo Directs as sort of a catch-all.
Yeah.
If you didn't know this, hear really quickly what it is,
Yeah.
and they weren't kidding this time about quick, by the way.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter Stories is out this fall. I'm very excited.
Yeah, it sort of looks like cel-shaded Monster Hunter Pokemon for a younger audience, and I think that's
very
really cool.
much cel-shaded Monster Hunter Pokemon. That is probably the best way to describe it. Great graphics.
It'd be interesting if they draw in a younger audience and then they're like, oh, this is cool, and then it's like, hey, this is an entire franchise.
Yeah.
So in Japan, this
game's gorgeous.
was marketed to kids. It is sort of a lighter way to get into the Monster Hunter series. It has I believe it had a television series too at one point.
I could totally see that. Yeah.
Unless I'm getting my facts mixed up, but I'm really excited to play this, and I've messed around with the Japanese version. Really love it. We'll say no more word on the Monster Hunter Stories amiibo though, and there are 6 of them.
Oh, really? In Japan?
Yeah, Capcom worked with Nintendo to make amiibo in Japan for this. No mention on whether those are coming, just that these will be here. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Then we have Yokai Watch 2, Psychic Specters. This is the 3rd game in the Yokai Watch 2
So it's
set.
like the Pokemon Yellow of...
Pretty much, yeah. Unfortunately, at least for an older audience like us, Yokai Watch 2 just kind of fell flat. Like we reviewed it for the site, and it did not score well. It's a very pretty game, but not one with interesting enough mechanics to keep going.
Right.
I'm excited for, though, if 3 makes it over, because 3 could be the one where they fixed all that.
Yeah.
It's already out in Japan. But I find it hard to be excited about Yokai Watch 2, but regardless, Nintendo's still chugging away with Level 5 on getting these games out for better or worse.
Right.
I'm excited about this next one, though. Miitopia is coming out. So this was a late holiday edition released in Japan last year. It's coming in 2017, no date, and this is a wacky me-based RPG where your party doesn't always agree on what to do, and there's a lot of wacky interaction. It's almost RPG meets Tomodachi life in some sense.
Yeah, I like the fact that they're like all rooming in the same place, and like you have to make sure that they're all happy, and if they get pissed at each other, then all of a sudden that's going to come out in battle. They're going to be like, no, man, I'm not listening to what you're doing. I'm going to go slap this dude.
Yeah, it was so funny to watch. Like, and this is where Nintendo's charm shows up, because I love that they put their developers on the spot as me's in those situations, and I just think it shows that flexibility, and you immediately know who you're looking at once you get that attachment.
This feels like a full-fledged version of a Me Plaza game, and I mean that in the best way possible. Whereas we saw the Kirby mini games from their old games kind of spin off as their own things. This feels like they took a core idea they could have thrown there, but they turned it into like an actual full game. So that's really cool.
Next we have stop everything. It is the 25th anniversary of Kirby. And a lot of Kirby stuff got announced. I only say this because there's a running joke on Nintendo Voice Chat. If you don't listen or watch, we are a weekly show on IGN where Per Schneider, the company GM, always says that a platform is about to go when they unleash all the Kirby games. And oddly enough, we got Kirby Clash Deluxe, which is a mini game from Planet Robobot. That's out today. It's a free to start game, and you can pay for the rest of it if you want. But if you own Robobot, you're not that interested in this, because this is actually a mode you already have. Then they follow that up with Kirby Blowout Blast, which is 25 plus stages. It's based off of the concept introduced on Robobot called 3D Rumble, but it is not the same. And that one is going to be out, I believe, this summer. It's not out yet. What's your reaction so far to these, by the way?
I mean, for this one specifically, I'm like, just play Smash Brothers. Like, it's already there, and Kirby's in it. And so is a bunch of Kirby characters.
This looked cool. I thought this mode looked cool.
So this is the most interesting one, because this feels like the most new thing. Everything else is like, if you're a Kirby fan, you have these games on your 3DS already, because you bought them.
I just love that the Kirby team takes a chance on these minigames and then will release them later for folks who maybe said, you know what, I pass on Robobot, but I want to play a co-op game. Hopefully there's an audience that will sort of jump into it and like it. This next announcement, there's a new multiplayer Kirby action game for 3DS. It has no title. All they want you to know is that this thing exists.
Working title.
Also,
it will be out this holiday.
According to Per, it's probably the last 3DS game ever.
Really?
Probably. Per is tweeting that right now.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah.
I agree. And then we have Bye Bye Box Boy, which is out now. Will be released today. There's an eShop demo where you can play all 3 Box Boy games if you've never played any of them. And this is So the Box Boy series is kind of this sort of small cult hit, I feel, at least within the office. I know I've put a lot of time into it. You've played it, Paris played it. Really clever puzzle design made by HAL Labs, the guys behind the Kirby series.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I put it in the same vein as like Pushmo, where it's these really smart, really sort of small, tight puzzle games with a really strong aesthetic. I love the fact that if you have Box Boy 1 and 2, that you can sort of get that monochrome, like almost like the original Game Boy aesthetic.
Yeah, these amiibos functionality is really cute too.
Yeah, totally. I like that functionality.
Yeah, and the Box Boy amiibo is not part of this set. Which there is a Box Boy amiibo that was released in Japan, and there's a way, I think, to buy them if you're in Australia or something. I can't remember. I think the online retailer has it. But no, I'm excited. I think that unlike Pushmo, I think the thing that I love most about Box Boy is that I feel like Pushmo would talk you to death going over the rules, whereas Box Boy just goes, go, learn, explore, play. And that to me is why I'm really excited to jump back into it.
Yeah, and I think it was an impressive direct. Like in terms of 3DS stuff, they didn't really knock anything out of the park with like a capital AAA game.
No.
But I think they gave us enough like smaller things that it's like, hey, if you still have a 3DS and maybe you haven't jumped on board Switch yet, we're not forgetting about you yet. Like we still care, and here's a handful of really cool games going to be coming out for the next couple of months.
Yeah, there's still some life left, and your system purchase is justified for at least another year. So.
Yeah, I will say a few more comments. Just I thought it was cool that they ran Yoshiaki Koizumi as the point man. You'll remember him from the Nintendo Switch presentation back in January. This is the general manager for the platform, one of two people who were like really top dogs on it. And I'm really happy to just see more of him. I feel like he is the new face for them and for this system specifically. I'm a bit sad that they didn't find more charming ways to take advantage of his personality. Because I mean, that whole magic show bit in the January presentation was absolutely amazing, and that was not here.
Yeah, I mean, he has like an internal energy to him, and he seems enthusiastic, which I think is cool. Like, put someone like that up front. Don't put like a, sort of a boring suit. A lot of companies will put a boring suit just reading off a PowerPoint. Whereas like this is like, he seems like a guy who wanted to be there, which is cool.
I mean, Nintendo's been experimenting with this direct format for a few years now, and if you think about it, we've seen a variety of different ways that presentation can unfold, from puppets to animated stuff to Mega 64. And this is a new take for them, obviously, and it's faster and it's more energetic, and some of it worked and some of it didn't.
Yeah, I think they need to slow down overall. That's my final like sort of just take on it. I just think there was a lot of interesting stuff in here. Maybe not all of it deserved to be in one place. Maybe Nintendo Direct does not need to be a catch-all. Like, don't treat it that way.
Some of these could have been a press release, honestly. A trailer and a press release afterwards. So my question to you is, we're 2 months-ish out from E3. Do you think we hear from Nintendo before then, or do you think, I mean, obviously games are going to be released, but do you think that this is the last Direct before, the E3 Direct or conference or whatever they do?
I think it is. I think that the next time you hear from them, it's just, here's our E3 plans. They do the funny video or the charming, the past 2 years in a row, they've done, how are we going to go to E3? And then they do this sort of thing. I think you'll see more of that. It'll point to the date of their conference, which is always that Tuesday. And it will tease what it will tease. And we talked about it, right? I mean, you've got Mario Odyssey to talk about still, which everyone is excited to hear about. You've got more Splatoon 2 to talk about, single player specifically. Xenoblade 2. You've lied to me before, Nintendo, about Xenoblade. You've kept me hanging for years on Xenoblade Chronicles X. Oh, wait. And there's more. Yeah, seriously, Metroid. Where was
Metroid. Yeah. I don't need the entire E3 booth to be dedicated to Metroid. I just need like 70%.
You want Zebes?
Yeah, you want Zebes like last week?
Yeah, give me some Zebes.
I think it's pronounced Zebes.
It doesn't matter. It's a fake word.
So you agree this will be the last time we hear from him?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you guys are right. Press release, maybe some news tidbits here and there. That's about it.
The occasional product that we didn't see coming, but otherwise save it all and come out strong at E3.
Absolutely.
And hopefully, I think now that all these third-party games that you don't care about, like Monopoly, or at least we don't care about because we're sort of the hardcore segment, that means at E3 you have more interesting things to say to me. You got those things out of the way. So
I hope a company like Ubisoft got these out of the way that we were a little underwhelmed by, and that at E3 maybe they have something cool to say.
Because if those games feel more like a favor than they deserve any kind of fanfare to me. Like I'm just like, this doesn't work.
Yeah, but it's exciting to me that they're going to be able to focus a lot on Mario and games we don't know about yet, which I think is really exciting.
I mean, I think Ubisoft specifically has a lot to say about 2017 in the coming months. They got whatever they're doing this fall, and we'll see how much that lands on Switch. Hopefully some of it.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. We've done it. Our first Nintendo Voice Chat, Nintendo Direct post-show. Thank you so much for joining us, Marty, Brian, and of course, Jose. You can find us on Twitter. You can find Marty at
Nick Biggity.
You can find Brian at
Agent Bizzle.
You can find myself, Jose_Otero. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back next week with more Nintendo Voice Chat.
I'm Yoshiaki Koizumi from Nintendo, and I'll be your guide.